Okay, so it's currently about 1 a.m. and I have a feeling that this is going to be quite a long video because I have a lot of thoughts on this subject and I want to make sure this video is structured, but it's 1 a.m. I'm going to have a cup of tea to try to make sure my thoughts aren't so fragmented. There is a situation that's come to my attention on YouTube and I don't feel like anyone is going to say what I'm about to say regarding it. So that's going to be fun. This video might get taken the wrong way completely, but whatever. There's this YouTuber called Call Me Carson, and he was dating another YouTuber, very small. I think Call Me Carson had about 1.5 million subs. This YouTuber has about 100k. I think her name's Katerino. I think a lot of the subs maybe came from him. She cheated on him with several different guys. And I was aware of this situation when it happened about a month ago because, you know, Drama Alert and Scarce, etc. were talking about it. So I was aware it was a thing that had happened. But then Leafy put up a video a few days ago, because I'm still subscribed to Leafy even after all these years. He put up a video a few days ago, like slipping into her DMs to call her a hoe. So out of curiosity, I went over to her channel to look at the apology video that she put up. Now, what she did was horrible. She cheated on her boyfriend with several different guys, one of which was one of his friends. And this apology video she put up was 3 minutes long, and her deflecting, saying she was in a dark place and blaming depersonalisation on what she did, which, for those of you who don't know, I developed dissociation disorder a few years ago. So I have derealisation and depersonalisation. I have control of it pretty much now because I've been living with it for a few years. Derealisation, not that any of you viewers care. Derealisation is where everything around you, you'll have episodes of nothing feeling real. That's so fun, especially when you're outside and it's like, oh God. And depersonalisation is where it feels like you almost have this 3D perspective of your own life. Like you aren't in control of your body and what you're doing. Now, everyone's mental health is subjective and different. You still know right from wrong. Even in my worst periods of depersonalisation, when it was really bad, and I was having like these panic attacks all day from it, I didn't have 8 boyfriends at the same time. It can make you less empathetic and a bit more sociopathic. I find anyway, it definitely made me a little bit more sociopathic to certain situations because it's hard to care about reality when you are detached from reality most of your waking life, but you're still aware of morality and ethics and right from wrong and lying, and it's not really an excuse. It's a bit of a cop-out to blame a mental disorder for you cheating. My point is, she did this bad thing. She hasn't held public accountability for what she's done. She didn't own it. She blamed mental health and apologised to everyone except Carson. So the video itself had 2.3 million views, 471,000 dislikes at the time of me filming this video. And this is why I'm making this video. Over 100,000 comments, 105,000 comments. That is going too far. And I'm going to state this on the record. That is too far. So, YouTubers don't read every single comment. Any YouTuber that says, I read all the comments and they're a big channel. No, they don't. I get hundreds of comments every day and I don't read all of them. I don't have the time or the mental fortitude to read about hundreds of different opinions about myself. I'm egotistical, sure, but not to that extent. I don't think it's mentally healthy to read constant praise about yourself. I don't think that's mentally healthy, and that's why a lot of YouTubers get a little bit detached from reality and a bit too egotistical. But she's not going to be reading those comments anyway. I saw one of the top comments said that she was deleting comments. Bitch, there is over 105,000 comments on that video. She is not deleting any comments. YouTube just suddenly, like, YouTube can just put comments in a different or funny order. Even H3 has spoken about this. She's not deleting any comments. If it was about 10,000 comments, I wouldn't have raised an eyebrow, but over 100,000 comments, all the same variations of you're a terrible person, you're a slut, you're a hoe, you're this, you're that. When does it stop being you angry on someone's behalf and go into public shaming and bullying? The human brain is not designed to see that much negativity, maybe at all. Even if she was reading some of the comments, she wouldn't possibly have the time to read all of the comments. And there are people, even right now, hour by hour, adding more comments to it. So you must know on some level that your comments are never going to be seen by her. So when you're calling her a slut and a hoe or whatever, who are you doing that for? Are you doing it in the hope she sees, which she's never going to see? Because that amount of comments, it'll be impossible. She's not going to be able to see your comment. Or are you doing it in the hopes of getting likes? It's the second one. People are bandwagoning and dogpiling in the hopes of getting likes off of someone else's misery. And I think this is too far. You're not adding anything constructive to the conversation. End of sentence, really. Nor anything that she's going to see. So what's the point? Who are you doing it for? You're doing it for everyone else to try to get likes. Or it's funny, isn't it, how if someone fucks up, everyone starts joining in on kicking them. And it's not really... Look, over 105,000 comments. I know that Call Me Carson has over 1 million subscribers. The majority of those people do not care. They don't actually care about the situation. They're not going to care by next week, if they even still care right now, depending on when they put their comments there. It hasn't personally affected them on some level. They're not really going to care in a week's time. So what are you doing? Are you just pouring salt on the wound because you can, because you see this opportunity to be a bit nasty to someone who has fucked up and done a bad thing? So when does it go from constructive criticism of someone's actions to bullying? If this girl did something permanent to herself, how many of those people commenting do you think would turn around and be like, oh my God, I don't know how this could have happened? If you think I'm being a little bit dramatic, it's basically what happened to Caroline Flack. Caroline Flack was a TV presenter in the UK who committed suicide a few months ago. And everyone was so quick to point the finger at everyone else. I was going to do a video on that, but I didn't feel that I was the right person. And True Geordie, with his co-host Lawrence, did a whole, I think it was a 45-minute long video, or even longer than that, video on the subject. And I agreed with the majority of his points. So I kind of felt it was a little bit redundant for me to do a video. So here's what happened with Caroline Flack. She was involved in an assault with her boyfriend, and she was due to go to court. And she got dropped from everything. She was a very, very, very popular TV presenter. She presented Love Island. That would tell you how popular she was in the UK. So before this assault or ordeal could be sorted out properly in court, she ended up killing herself because it must have been a factor of all sorts. She must have felt like there was no way she was ever going to get her life back. And the court of public opinion found her guilty before an actual courtroom did. And a lot of the public sure took it upon themselves to tell Caroline exactly how they felt about the situation. And the press, the press sure were something whilst this was going on. They hounded her, especially The Sun who then retroactively deleted articles mocking her the day after she died because they were starting to catch heat for it. And even after she died, the same press that hounded her and, played a part in her reaching an unfortunate conclusion, then did article after article about her death too. Her last Instagram post, the last text she sent to this person. I took a screenshot, actually, I think I still have it on my laptop, I put up, of the Metro's front page when this all happened. Just constant, nonsensical articles, even in death. They couldn't just leave it alone. All for the sake of what? Fucking clicks, because it was this huge thing. And the sad thing about Caroline Flack's death is it was entirely preventable. I was aware of the situation as it was developing, and it almost felt like we were slowly watching someone lose everything and ultimately kill themselves, because that is what happened, and it was a very preventable situation. She wasn't even given the opportunity to have a court case and see it all through. And, if she had assaulted her boyfriend, which obviously is a terrible thing. Doesn't matter the genders. Does not matter the genders. Like, assaulting anyone is a bad thing. I feel like that doesn't even need to be said, but it will need to be said. Violence is bad, okay? Even if she had been found guilty in court, there is still a chance at redemption and rehabilitation and reassessing your actions. But she wasn't even given that opportunity because she took her life before that could happen, because she obviously felt that wouldn't be the case and she'd lost everything. And everyone was so quick to point fingers. The public were quick to go, it's all the press's fault because they hounded her. The press were quick to go, it's the public's fault. All those troll comments. Everyone who had interacted with the situation in a negative manner holds a tiny bit of accountability, but people don't have the self-awareness to see that. They'd rather just all point fingers. Interesting how everyone just pointed fingers at each other, rather than take a little bit of accountability and look at themselves and maybe making some nasty comments on her Instagram wasn't that necessary. Maybe writing article after article because I get paid for it wasn't necessary. I was so mad at the time about it because I predicted what would happen. They made a hashtag like be kind. Be kinder online, but not teaching people how to be kinder. And the way to be kinder is to constantly hold yourself in reflection and look at your actions and try to work out what's really going on. Why are you really saying these things? If you lash out, why is that? It takes a level of introspection that I don't feel is taught to people. But yeah, just loads of people jumped on hashtag be kind. I guarantee some of those people who used that hashtag probably had said nasty things about her online, because that's just what people are like, you know? Someone dies and then it gets serious, then it gets, oh no, I can't believe this, how could this happen to such a nice person? That may sound really cynical and jaded, but I've seen it when like people I've personally known have passed away, and then suddenly like everyone's their best friend, even if they didn't really know the person or whatever. And I predicted back then, yeah, people will use empty platitudes and say be kind without actually knowing what it means to try to be nicer to others. They'll forget about it in a month and everyone will go back to being a little bit of a cunt to each other. Am I wrong? 2 to 3 months on. What happened to Caroline Flack is very similar to what's happening to Caterino now. Caterino. Public shaming and dogpiling. People will dogpile and dogpile and dogpile until something permanent happens. And then everyone will be like, oh, such a shame, how awful, we should all do better. And the same thing happens again and again. And it's happening with increasing frequency. And it needs to stop. The mob mentality, bandwagoning, dogpiling, public shaming needs to stop. There is a much larger conversation to be had that encapsulates the Caterino situation and Caroline Flack and countless others that I probably am not even aware of. Now, I feel like I should have said this at the beginning. I'm not saying don't criticise people. Don't be ridiculous. That's half my channel, criticising the bad behaviour of others. But there is a very clear line between criticism and abuse. It's not a fine line. It's not a line that, oh, it's a bit blurry, I don't know. There's a very clear line between constructive criticism and just straight up abuse. There is a difference between saying, hey, that wasn't so good, maybe don't do that next time, like here's what you can do to try and better yourself, or being like, you're just a cunt, you're just a slut, fuck you, go kill yourself. There is a big difference between the two, and it is completely disingenuous for anyone to imply otherwise. People are aware of when they fucked up, generally. I know in Caterino's video she is deflecting, but people know when they fucked up. She wouldn't have made that apology video, did she not know? She's not taking accountability, but she knows full well that she's messed up. You don't need 100,000 people saying the same thing over and over. People are very aware of when they've made a mistake. So I ended up speaking to one of my friends in my private life about this whole situation because he knows a lot more about that side of YouTube than I do. So we had this conversation. There are a few things that he said. Can't get him on my channel because social distancing and all that, and he probably wouldn't want to come on my channel. There's a few things that he said, which I'm going to note, and I'm not going to take credit for, because there are some things that I just simply don't know enough about. Like, he believes that some big YouTubers have been stoking the fire, according to the comments, making things worse, and bringing their fan bases in to the dog pile, which is very irresponsible. Apparently people who are friends with Carson, which I understand, if someone's hurt your friend, you are going to be angry. If one of my friends got cheated on and I knew the girlfriend, or the boyfriend, or whatever, there would be a big difference between me privately going to that person being like, not fucking cool, leave my friend alone, like you've upset them. There's a difference between doing that and weaponizing a fan base to make the whole situation worse publicly. That is a really irresponsible use of your following. Don't get your following of children, from what I've gathered, a child fan base, to do your dirty work. It's very irresponsible to get your followers to do your dirty work for you. Very immature and juvenile, and that's not acceptable. And if YouTube catches wind of people weaponizing their fan bases, Nision used to do that, didn't he? They're probably going to bring in stricter policies to try to stop creators from doing this. My friend told me that Carson has said he wished none of this did become public. I understand you would be rightfully angry if your friend got cheated on. I've been in that situation where I've had friends get cheated on, and it's not nice, it is horrible, and you do get mad. But generally I've found if people get cheated on, they don't want constant reminders of it. And stoking the flames and making the situation worse will be a constant reminder of what has happened. People who have been cheated on usually want to just heal and move on with their lives. So it's not fair if you're a friend of the person who's been cheated on to continue this. This shouldn't even be considered drama, seeing as it's a genuine issue from someone's personal life. They should all, in an ideal world, this all would have been handled privately offline. But seeing as that's not the case and it did get out, then people with big fan bases who are friends of the cheated on should know better and be the bigger people and not send literal children to be immature. The point of this video, though, is I believe there's a bigger conversation to be had about mob mentality. This is part of the reason why I don't use Twitter anymore, because I do believe that Twitter is just a website for public shaming. People dragging up a bad tweet from 10 years ago to try to ruin someone's life now. I hate this hung, drawn and quartered mentality that people have now. That if you did a bad thing once 10 years ago, you're over. You're done. You're cancelled. You can't change. We're not going to allow you the room to change. I mean, it happened 10 years ago, so, maybe you have changed and become a better person. Actually, it's demonstrable. You have changed. You're not the same person, but still, fuck you for this stupid thing that you... I do not like that. We need to allow people the room to breathe and change and better themselves. Otherwise, what is the fucking point, guys? And also, I believe the quote tweet function on Twitter is exclusively used for either replying back to memes or dogpiling public shaming. And I don't use Twitter for those reasons, because I don't agree with it. So I used to do it a little bit. I feel like Twitter brings out the worst of people in times. I've only ever really seen it used in a negative way to dunk on people and make fun of them. And some of it is funny. I piss take a lot on this channel. Some of it is funny, but there is a line. And I've joined in with dogpiling before. And dogpiling isn't usually about the truth. It's about trying to seem better than that other person, trying to one-up them. This situation with Katerina and all those thousands upon thousands of comments talking about her, that's not about righteous indignation over what's going on. It's about, hey, let's kick this person while they're down so I can feel like I'm part of something, part of a community, and feel a little bit better about myself. That's what a lot of the ire is, really. A lot of it is abuse for self-validation. The problem with the internet, and Trude already touched upon this when he talked about Caroline Flack, is the internet doesn't know when enough is enough. When I was younger, I used to be more of the opinion of, backlash, well, whatever, just turn off your computer, just don't read it. But I've never had the ire of 100 people, let alone tens of thousands, let alone hundreds of thousands of people saying slut, hoe, kill yourself, etc, etc. So I have no idea what it would be like to be in that situation, and I'm not going to pretend. But what I do know is I do know, on a personal level as well, people have committed suicide for a lot less. I don't believe the human brain can deal with that much negativity. I don't believe the human brain is caught up to the fact that, we go on our phone and it's just a constant stream of negative news, negative news, negative news. And God, no wonder a lot of us are more miserable and cynical now. I don't believe our brains are caught up to that, let alone hundreds of thousands of people having the ability to access you, symbiotically, kind of, you, the internet. When we upload this stuff, it's a little bit of us on the internet. The ability to access you and, throw abuse your way. And the thing about mob mentality is it's incredibly fickle as well. The James Charles situation, losing 3 million subscribers in 24 hours. And he said himself that having millions of people hate on him took him to a place where he felt suicidal. A 19-year-old felt suicidal. He's said, or at least heavily implied that himself, as it would do. Again, I don't know what that would feel like. And I'm pretty tough to all this kind of stuff. Negative comments, what do I care? I'm too old to give a shit. But God, the thought of having, you know, millions of people think you're this or think you're that, or, you know, want you to be gone or whatever. And then James Charles, as we all know, did his own video, cleared his name, regained the following, has even a bigger following than before. How fickle. Those people who unsubscribed and then resubscribed. Incredibly fickle. So, my point with that, the fecality, if that's even a word, of the mob, is imagine feeling such righteous indignation about a situation you realistically don't really care about, over something that's happened, and the person gets driven to suicide, and then a few days later, oh wait, no, we were wrong, some new evidence has come forward, etc, etc. And at the rate this is going, people have already died from mob mentality. So at the rate this is going, that is going to happen sooner or later, which is why we need to all take a step back and really assess what we're doing and what's going on. And my point about the internet never knowing when to stop. Caterino undeniably did a shitty thing to another person and should stay away from being in a relationship with anyone until she's sorted that out, if it is the case that the depersonalisation caused her to cheat or whatever. You know, she needs a long period of self-reflection. See, that's what we call constructive criticism. Works a lot better than me just being like, you're a cunt, fuck you. No. But the thing about the internet, never knowing when enough is enough, is she could genuinely change and become a better person in a few years' time and grow up or whatever, become more empathetic and more considerate about others. So many people have watched this spectacle that no matter how much of a good person she becomes, or a better person she becomes, people are always going to use this to drag her down. If we don't give people the room to grow and change and better themselves, then what the fuck is the point? In doing a lot of things, what is the point? Everyone's done stupid things. I don't mean like cheating, but I mean everyone's done regrettable things, as in maybe you lost your temper one day and, you know, caused an argument, or maybe you've done this, maybe you've done that. No one's slate is clean, but we all, if someone's willing to better themselves and is actually, you know, putting the steps in place. And I'm not saying like Caterino's, because that still remains to be seen, but I'm just saying this whole guilty until proven innocent, and even if you ever better yourself, you're still fucking guilty. It's asinine. I hate using this word, but it's such a toxic mentality to have. People can change and better themselves. People can grow up and mature. I myself was an argumentative little arsehole when I was younger. I've mellowed out quite a lot in the past few years. People do change and grow, and we need to let other people do that. Not just be like, you did this bad thing and that's you forever. Because what the fuck is the point otherwise? What's the point even trying to be good? If that's the case, do you know what I mean? Mob mentality needs to end. Dogpiling needs to stop being rewarded on platforms like Twitter, because it is. People need to be taught how to self-reflect and look upon what they're doing and say, am I leaving this comment because I genuinely want to add something to the conversation? Or am I leaving this nasty comment because I've had a bad day and I need to feel a little bit better about myself by kicking someone else who is arguably worse than me? I think what we need is another Frankenstein. Frankenstein, the novel by Mary Shelley. Like, you're all probably aware of what Frankenstein is. It was really a story about the dangers of mob mentality and how it kills. And we need a new Frankenstein. I don't mean like a reboot, but just a new retelling of that concept for the 21st century. Because people need to understand that this level of public shaming, it's not acceptable. But here's the thing, the outrage brigade, the mob, finds a new target all the time, every week. They will move on, they will forget. The people commenting constantly on this fucking video are going to move on and forget about it in 2 weeks' time or 3 weeks' time or whatever. It's going to be old news, it's going to be old stale tea, old drama. But the ramifications of that on the human psyche is way more long-lasting than just a few weeks. I mean, just think about it this way. Most people can remember a lot of insults. I can remember insults or nasty comments towards me from 10 years ago, 12 years ago. You know, when I was really young at school, maybe when I was 8 years old. I can remember nasty and mean comments. We tend to remember nasty comments more so than the more positive ones. So I can remember, you know, someone saying something nasty about me when I was 8 years old. Now imagine that on the scale of over 100,000 people. Basically, I think all of us need to look at ourselves and assess whether we are contributing to mob mentality and try to prevent that from happening before more people get killed. And that's all for this video, really. Bit of a more serious one. I don't like doing serious videos because I like to keep this the fun, happy, like light-hearted channel, you know, because the world's mental. There's enough misery everywhere. I want to keep people uplifted, but this has been playing on my mind for a while, the whole mob mentality stuff, and then seeing that amount of comments, like ridiculous situation, I needed to get my thoughts out there. You can agree, you can disagree. It's whatever. It's whatever to me. Won't read your comments anyway. I'm joking. I'm not joking. I'll read some of the top comments. That's it. Preferably the ones that agree with me. I'm kidding. Anyway, that is all for this video. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.